This is why Logan and Jake Paul were smart when they exploited the algorithm, is they can tell, YouTube can tell when your channel is responsible for people staying on YouTube longer, specifically. Mm-hmm. They can tell when your video is specifically responsible for keeping people on YouTube longer. Mm-hmm. But they can also tell when your channel and when your videos get people to watch more videos, and you are favored and distributed more in YouTube, which means you'll see your YouTube impressions in this new dashboard data go up if you're hitting these specific goals and these markers. Retention rates, overall higher watch time, average viewed percentage durations, etc. The clip show will help you. The clip shows will help you get over 50% average view durations. Mm-hmm. They also help you get more video views on average per. It's kind of like in retail, average sales per transaction. Right, it's the same thing.
So do you not think that posting? So maybe I post one full episode a week, and then so I'm just posting like every weekday. So maybe like Monday it's full episode, and then Tuesday through Friday it's like a clip. Yep. Do you think that those 5-minute videos will mess up the watch time of someone watching like an hour podcast, maybe for half the time of 30 minutes?
I think it's the opposite, because the thing is, if the hour timestamp was intimidating to get them to commit to something, they can try before they buy. Right. Sample 5 minutes of that, because that's disposable time that they have. Because you always have, there's another thing that like I'm starting a conversation around that like no one's talking about, the concept of disposable watch time. The reason that the biggest YouTube stars have a largely young audience is because young people have the longest binge ability to watch YouTube. We have lives, but like when we were in school, we could throw 3 to 4 hours at a hobby a day. Mm-hmm. Like now, forget about it. Like this is our life now.
Right.
So
what do you think about, because basically my whole thinking with that is like, so much of my livelihood is wrapped up into YouTube. And then you see these things come along like Patreon with a subscription model that I've always been kind of wary of, just because it's like, okay, everything I do is behind the scenes content. So if I were to put that stuff behind a paywall, that would just be my content. That doesn't make sense. No. So that's why with the podcast, I'm like, oh, I can actually offer an actual product that's like real value of like the full episode.
So it could be that it's early, or because access, like, so a lot of people mistake the whole Patreon model. So here's another thing that you can do. There's a lot of cool stuff that you can do. We talked about like the idea of digital products without going quite to a digital product yet. There's enough things digitally that you produce that people in your community would be curious enough about to want access of, to say that that's worth $5. I would say reverse engineer the DeFranco Elite version of doing Patreon and think about it more transactionally, but also think about a ladder of support tiers, structure them, tie things to them. And I would take it and separate it from your main general content, but then also more about things that you like make that may not be a finished product that go to market. Things like, there's things artistically that you do just as a photographer.
So you don't think that subscription model is for finished products? Because I guess for me, like,
I don't think it has to be.
Okay, because like as a consumer, I don't care about getting things early. I'm like, I will view them. People, and so I'm like, why would people care about that? So that's why I have
people who do, but I'm not one of them.
Right.
There is a market of people that, but it also depends on who the personality is. Some people just have a fixation with being first.
Right.
Gary V, first in line.
Yeah.
Like, so but like, I don't love that whole exclusivity model on that. For an exclusivity model on content, I believe in membership sites. I mean, but that's also if you're like an educator or a trainer or something like that. Less so of an entertainer, unless you're using the pay-per-view model. Like if I was Liza Koshy before she got a YouTube Red series, I would have done a Patreon and done live stand-up comedy for my audience as a YouTube live stream, but make it exclusive and make it basically you buy tickets to that every month. Like I do my own comedy hour. I would have branded. I would have made a big thing. Higher tiers also get merch sent to them, included in the package. I would have made a whole thing out of it, right? That's a different business model. This is like the thing that I'm really good at, is like coming up with these. Like here's something that I'm starting to come up with for people, because we have the new little sponsor button on YouTube. Like there are people who are just doing it to do it and just to support me, but my new thing is like, okay, cool. I'm a Photoshop guy. I'm gonna make cool desktop wallpapers and artwork. Like the thing I haven't done in a long time is just shown people my artwork and my like creative like skill, because it's stuff I've just been hoarding for myself and putting up, like planning to print out and put the posters in my room of my own artwork, and some of my stuff that got featured in magazines back in the day. But like giving my audience something that like, oh, I gave you like a dope wallpaper pack for your phone and desktop this month that's themed on something related to our community or to my brand, and it's exclusive. That's like a really nice thank you. I tied my Patreon to my podcast instead of my YouTube channel. And what I do there sometimes is, yeah, it is the early stuff. Sometimes it's also unreleased things where I've like, you know what? Maybe to distribute to the world, I'm not satisfied with the quality on a technical level of this thing, but the content itself was so good, I want somebody to see it. And so the Patreon people get some exclusivity there of things that I won't put out into the world. So, I mean, I will definitely help you figure out this in a granular way, like offline, just as a homie, but like just think differently and think bigger about it beyond YouTube, because the thing that you have that a lot of people don't have is you're a real media company. You are like me. You're like Gary. You're a media company embodied in an individual, right? That's a unique skill, but unlike Gary, you and I are both technicians and artists. So in addition to being the talent, we don't necessarily have to get a team of 20 people to be able to churn out and produce different things. You talked about Instagram being curated. You have the ability, I'm not telling you to go out and do a magazine, but I'm pointing out that if you wanted to launch a magazine, a digital magazine, you have the capacity, the capability. You might not have the bandwidth right now without 2 people helping, but it would basically come down to 2 people helping and come down to a ghostwriter in aggregate of your lifestyle, and then you'd have the peachy mag. That's literally how turnkey it would be for you.
Right.
Because like I look at these hard drives and I look at your Instagram and I know how many photos didn't get posted.